I'm Rachel.
And I'm Henry.
And today we're going to take a look at some questions, see what we know about it, and then bring in the expert.
And today's question is, define any or all of the following: bill, act, law, resolution, legislation. I think I'll take a stab at a bill, because a bill is a law, I believe, that is before, it's like a law pitch. It's what legislatures or Congress people, that's what it is in their proposal. I believe that's what a bill is.
That makes sense to me. I feel like legislation is the same as a law, or it's like the plural form of laws, sort of, maybe?
Something like that. I think an act is like, I believe an act is like a group of laws. Like it encompasses like a lot of different subjects or something like that, where it has multiple different, like if you were to do an act on driving, it would have a lot of different things about driving that it addresses in multiple different places there. I could be wrong, but I believe that's what it is.
I wonder if a bill is something that is only, decided on in like one of the areas of either the House or the Senate.
Right.
Like it's something that hasn't actually been
and it has
decided on all the way. Like it's the beginning part of it.
Oh, okay. And I think a resolution, I honestly have no idea what it is.
I'm really curious about that
the
one.
First
What's
thing that
the
pops
different
in my
about
mind
it?
of like, I don't know, a definite decision on something, of like if there's like the House passes a resolution on a certain bill or a certain subject, something like that.
Or if it's like a resolution is even like pre-bill or something like that. Like it's a we intend to kind of a thing. I don't actually know. I'd be curious.
All right, now that we've given our best guess, let's bring in the experts so that they can teach us a little bit about what's going on here.
Hi, I'm Barbie Poling, and I like to educate young people in government and politics.
Okay, so help us out here. What are the definitions of these following things here? Because I'm very curious as to how many we got right or what we missed.
Well, I think that you were pretty right when you were both talking about what a bill is. Let me just define it a little bit more. A bill is a piece of, it's going to be a law, but it's not yet. So it has to go through, like, say somebody wants to make a law about something particular, and so it has to be written in a certain format, and it has to be assigned a number. So if it's somebody in the Senate who's doing it, it will say SB, and it's given a number like 247. And so SB 247 would be a bill, and if it was coming from the House, it would say HB.
For Senate bill or House bill number.
And the numbers aren't the same. So the Senate might be working on a bill that's like that, and the House is working on a similar bill, but it's not exactly the same, and they'll have two different numbers. It'll be SB 241 and HB 642.
Wow.
But they're about the same thing, or whatever. They could be.
Nice.
And so it has to be, once it's all written out and given a number, then a committee talks all about it and maybe changes things about it. And then the committee votes on it. And then the committee gives it to the floor of the House or the Senate, wherever it came from. And then the whole House and Senate vote on it. And then it has to go to the other House. So if it came from the Senate, it goes to the House of Representatives. And then they talk about it in committee. And then they put it on the floor and they vote on it. So if the Senate said yes and the House said yes, then they have to go to what they call kind of like a reconciliation, where some people from the House and some people from the Senate work it all out, because it might be a little bit different in this one than it is in this one. And they work it all out. I don't know if they go and vote on it again. I'm not really sure about that. But then the president, and then it goes to the president.
Or if this is a state legislation that we're talking about, they would go to the governor.
The governor, that's right. And so once the governor signs it, or the president signs it, it's now a law. It's not a bill anymore. It's a law.
And so what we were guessing on for the law, that's just a bill that's gone through both House and Senate and has been signed in the by the
Right.
president into law.
Yeah. And if the president doesn't sign it in 30 days, he has 30 days to sign it. If he doesn't sign it, it becomes a law anyway.
Oh.
Oh.
The only way it doesn't become a law is if he puts a big veto stamp on it. He can say, no, I don't like this.
And then it goes back to
Mm-hmm.
the other.
And they have to have 2/3 of a vote. They can override the veto.
Or can they just change the law until it's acceptable?
They could do that too, but it would have to go back into the committees and, you know, it's,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
a bill is what it's before it's a law.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
So we kind of defined law there as well,
Yeah.
right? So I'll skip down to resolution and then we'll talk about act.
Right.
All right. So a resolution is when the particular bodies, you know, the House or the Senate or whatever, they want to make a statement. They just want to say something.
Okay.
So it's not a law that applies to everyone in the whole country. They just want to say something, and so it's written out like "Be it resolved."
Oh.
Like, I don't know, you know, like
That's kind of what I was getting at with, like, it's almost like a declaration of
It is.
intent rather than a legislation.
right, but it's not an intent to do anything. It's an intent to say something.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
Like they're speaking out against something?
yes,
or-
they could be speaking out against something. Like sometimes if a member of, like something that's happened a little bit more recently, is a member of the House of Representatives in our country, some legislators believe that they have misbehaved, and so the other body may start a resolution to say, we do not approve of what they said.
Oh.
You know,
And I'm sure on some political issues like Roe v. Wade being overturned, I'm sure they put out a resolution of like, we do or don't agree with whatever's going on.
they
here.
could like a certain state could put out a resolution saying, we be it resolved, we totally agree with the overturning of Roe v. Wade. I don't really know. It has to have a certain kind of language, but it's treated just like a bill.
Oh.
So but the House can have their own resolution. Like this is a House resolution, so it would have gone through the committee and they would rework the words, then they vote on it, and then the whole body votes on it.
Wow.
Does it have the same numbering system like HR, blah, blah,
Well,
blah?
it would be resolution, so it would be HR instead of HB.
Okay.
So a B was for bill, and a HR is a resolution. I believe this is so. I could be wrong, but I think this is what I understand.
Well, we'll resolve to figure that out at some point.
All right. So and then they could pass it over to the Senate or whatever, and they could also, and so both of them can all resolve. So I believe that, for instance, our Thanksgiving holiday is a resolution.
Oh.
Be it resolved on the fourth Thursday of November every year. We want to thank the creator of the, providence, however they worded it back then. So it would have been a resolution. So it's not a law. You don't have to
don't have to
celebrate
do it.
Thanksgiving, but the House and the Senate agree, and even maybe the president signed it and said,
But it has effects because it's a state or banking holiday,
Yeah.
so none of the federal or state employees will work on that day.
yeah,
So it's almost like a memo for either the state or the nation that's like from your representatives, here's something that we're thinking about, or here's something that we're talking about, or something like
well,
that.
it's not, it doesn't have, when you say we're thinking about it or talking about it, it sounds like something else is going to happen. It's not like that. It stands all by itself. This is what we believe, and we all agree about it.
So it's like an agreed upon mission statement almost.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
Just, this is what we think about this.
Nice. Well, I'll have to pay more attention to resolutions when they come up then, just to learn where
Right. So,
elected leaders
so
are
that's
at.
why they're different than a bill, because they're not going to result in a law. They result in a resolution.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
So maybe don't have as much budgetary consequences.
Yeah, generally, yeah.
Here's hoping.
Okay, let's go back up to act. Now, I believe this is the case. I could be wrong, but I didn't get a chance to look it up. But this is what I understand about what is an act. It's basically a name. It's just a name that they can put instead of going around, like people really want to hype up, vote for bill number 2730, vote for HB 2730, vote for HB 2730.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the same ring as vote for the Save Your Children Act. Vote for the Save Your Children Act.
It's, marketing.
Yes,
I
and
see.
so they put a name on it because it's not very exciting to call it HB 2730.
That's a lot less important than what I was thinking it was.
well, I liked your thoughts about that, and I could be wrong, and you could be right about that.
That sounds about right, though. Like, yeah, that sounds.
Yeah. So, for instance, there's a bill going in our state currently, and they're calling it school choice. And they could even be calling it the School Choice Act. You see, but it's because that's easier than saying HB.
Whatever.
Yeah.
And the numbers.
I mean, it's not easier. It's just more exciting.
Yeah.
More marketable, especially if it's something that's going to be voted on by the public versus
Right.
just your Congress people.
Yeah, then it'll get more eyes on it than a couple of letters and some numbers that nobody really gets an immediate response to or that they have to look up. They're like,
Yeah. So they name it, and they use the word act.
and they can name it
In the
whatever they want,
Yeah.
regardless of what the act is.
Oh yeah,
Kinda like the
'cause
Patriot Act.
Yeah, right. The Patriot Act is a bunch of laws. It might even include some resolutions, or and so it's a name. It's a name to make it sound
Nice.
good.
Okay.
All right, and then legislation. I liked what you said about it, basically, because it is just kind of like it's all the things that the legislature does.
Like the body of the law that has
Yeah.
been decided
This is-
upon.
Or we create legislation. That's what the House and the Senate,
So it's like the Tea Party word, the fancy like pinky up word for law.
or law.
Laws. Instead of laws, it's
Instead of laws.
the hoity-toity word.
Legislation.
Legislation.
Yes. I think it's like that.
It's one of those leftover words instead of law. It's legislation.
Legislation.
Thanks for educating us.
Yeah, and let us know down in the comments section below what you thought any of these things meant, or if you were educated, or if it was helpful, or if you loved how Barbie presented all of this. Make sure to let us know. And yeah, I think we'll catch you next time.
I hope that's what an act is. I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Wait, that's seriously what it is?
Well, when you think about it, like they said, the Don't Say Gay bill.
Yeah,
They did call it a bill, but technically that's an act because they named
named it
something.
It's not even.
And it wasn't even named by the
No.
legislature
It wasn't
that
named
way.
by, no, that was just the
Yeah,
public.
right.
Like, or like the other side that's like, yeah, this is what we're gonna call it now. Mm-hmm. Which is kind of weird, but I mean they can.
Yeah, I think the
really-
Patriot Act was the right.
Yeah, see, they really like to, sometimes they're naming it so it hides what's actually in it.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of some other ones because I know what is in them, but I can't remember what they named them. Like there's definitely some environmental acts, and even the the health Obamacare
Yeah.
is
Right.
basically an act.
I was thinking of Obamacare, but I couldn't think of the actual name of
I know I couldn't think of the actual name of that they.
of Obamacare.
Yeah,
Is
that,
The
Yeah,
Affordable
Affordable
Care
Care
Act.
Yes.
that's what it is.
The Bipartisan Infrastructure Act,
Yes.
which is not bipartisan.
No,
No.
not at all.
Yes.